Where we fit in the marketplace as a fuel, we fit as a better alternative. An alternative you've got right now, and it can compete. It's cost effective for the U.S. to grow its own fuel.
Can I ask a question? Does the government subsidize ethanol production in the States?
Simplest answer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What automotive fuel is not subsidized? And to what extent are all fuels subsidized? The biggest subsidy that's up for renewal this year, it's a 45-cent a gallon blender's credit.
Yeah.
It actually doesn't come to the producer. Our business is a producer. It goes to our customer, the blender of record. Guess who the blender of record is?
Who?
Petroleum refiners that buy our ethanol to blend with gasoline.
Right.
So our subsidy is actually going to the refiners. Okay?
Mm-hmm. It increases the octane.
And we're actually an additive in the fuel that improves the octane,
yeah.
and it burns cleaner. We are their octane enhancer. We are the octane boost in the gasoline.
It's called E20.
Well, E10 is what we are.
E10.
E20 is being tested. In fact, we're asking to go to E15 this year.
Yeah.
15% ethanol, and there's testing, long-term testing going on right now by the EPA.
This is an absolutely zero discharge ethanol plant.
Zero discharge.
Nothing to the water, nothing to the city sewer, and nothing to the sky.
Wherever developing nations are developing, they want automobiles. Petroleum is going to be in greater and greater demand. And if world wealth, world consumption of automotive fuels continues to rise and petroleum pricing continues to rise, we're in. We can compete today. $75 a barrel oil, we're competitive. If it's $140 a barrel like it was in 2008, there's going to be a huge expansion of ethanol in this country because we can compete with petroleum. So if they put artificial limits on where we can be in the blend in the U.S. auto supply, that's only going to put pressure on oil prices, which puts pressure on gasoline prices. We'll pay more to pump, but we got to find a balance. 10% ethanol is all that's allowed in U.S. vehicles by mandate of regulatory limits.
You know, I've been to Brazil, and the Fiat company makes cars that run entirely on ethanol.
Yeah.
But and I've been driving. You know, a lot of people, they argue with ethanol. Oh, you know, it's lower compression. It's not as explosive. This and that. But you know, after going to Brazil and driving in a Fiat, I was driving about 120 miles per hour on the freeway in this fast little race car kind of thing that's powered entirely on sugarcane ethanol in Brazil. And if I come back to America and I think, God, everyone's just so disillusioned with ethanol.
Well, again, consider what we compete with here in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
We've got an entrenched petroleum-based fuel marketplace. Brazil didn't have that.
And is this ethanol storage?
That's our tank farm. Big one's 700,000 gallons of denatured product. You know, you've got to put the 2%, we call it denatured in so that you can't drink it. Otherwise it would be food grade and be taxed as such.
So this is what it takes to have a non-toxic, clean burning fuel that brings American dollars right here in America. Ethanol.
They take petroleum, they make asphalt all the way to, you know, paint and gasoline and higher
clothes,
polyesters, or you name it. That full spectrum is what you're competing with.
Can they make paint and all these other products from ethanol?
Anything you make from a hydrocarbon you can make with a carbohydrate.
Really?
The problem is,
it's not
can
toxic?
you do it cost effective?
Oh,
you can make toxic things out. I mean, in fact, if you drink enough ethanol, I think college students maybe prove this every year.
You go blind.
You can drink too much ethanol and it'd be toxic. You can also drink too much water and be toxic too. It's called drowning.
Drowning.
So, you know, it takes a little bit of hydrocarbon to kill you. Okay, so maybe that's worse for you.
Anything will kill you.
I mean, that's right.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more hazardous. Explosive, you know, ethanol is flammable. That's what makes it a fuel. But I'm a firm believer
Yeah.
that other feedstocks will have to be part of this solution in the next several years. Okay? Corn can provide enough fuel for everything. But on what land and at what cost? If you just turn the marketplace loose and let it do it itself, I believe strongly we'd go too far and those other alternatives would come in anyway. You know, if you mandate it by the government, maybe get it sooner. And if the government can actually guide us properly, that might be a tall order.
Was it a cap and trade thing they're trying
Those
to
sorts
pass?
of things, yeah. You can command the marketplace to do what you want. Now, most of the time where that's been tried around the world through history, that's failed miserably.
All the carbons, all the sulfuric, sulfur, anything is oxidized in there and released. We have very tight limits on what we can do on it, and we're well within all those.
How much ethanol do you guys produce daily?
About 95,000 gallons of the undenatured alcohol.
Wow, that's a lot. How many truckloads is that?
That should be about 8-9 truckloads.
8-9 truckloads? Wow. You can really smell it.
That's 200 proof ethanol. That's our finished product.
So if you drank some of this, you'd go blind, or you know it'd be like a moonshine.
No, not like. Is.
So this is just moonshine.
This is a refined moonshine.
Right.
Today, wholesale gasoline is about 50 cents a gallon, more expensive than ethanol. And then they get the 45-cent a gallon blender's credit on top of that. So let's just say it rounded up there for $1. They make $1 on every gallon they blend today.
Really?
The regulated market has limited our value. If you said it was a 100% competitive market, somebody would want to buy our ethanol to where that margin on their wholesale gasoline versus ethanol is very small. And it's not. So we've got an artificial limit about how much they're willing to pay for our ethanol. Their profitability is fine. We call it a blend wall. We've got 10% ethanol as the maximum you can put in any gallon of gasoline. We can't put any more in there for regulatory reasons.
Shows that suck tube. We're pulling it down out of the dryer.
So this here is a feedstock, a byproduct from corn ethanol that you use this to feed horses and cattle with, right?
That's right. Mainly cattle in this area, some chickens. And so you got a pit here with an auger under it. It'll take it up that leg. Then it drops it over here.
Let's get a shot of this. It's like it's raining.
First big kill of ethanol biofuels, this big switch to petroleum, was when Prohibition shut down all the big distilleries. And then World War II, between when Prohibition was repealed in 1934 and World War II, 1941, the industry started gearing up again, and World War II shut the stills down again to make fuel for the war effort.
Now these huge stainless steel bins are full of corn?
That's right. That's right. The bigger size are 660,000 bushels. So that should be, if we're grinding 33,000 a day, what's that, enough for 20 days? So about every 3 weeks, we'd grind one of those.
Every 3 weeks, one of those.
This ethanol plant makes 33 million gallons of this fuel every year. And you know, how much is that? Nashville, at 10% ethanol, uses 100 million gallons a year. So we can supply 1/3 of the Nashville market.
The guy that helped us start our plant up was he was in charge of yeast at Jack Daniels. He's since gone back. But what we're doing here really essentially is no different than beverage grade alcohol. It's no different than moonshine that Grandpappy used to make. You're just grinding up corn, putting in some yeast, letting it set, and then running it through an old moonshine still. It's no difference.
So 33 truckloads a day coming in, 11 truckloads of ethanol going out, 11 truckloads of distiller's grain going out, and 11 truckloads of carbon dioxide going across the fence that Payne Enterprises converts into liquid CO2 for your Diet Coke that you want to drink here this afternoon, and dry ice that they use for packaging and food products. Where corn is grown locally, corn is processed locally, corn products are used locally.
Yeah.
That turns that dollar right here in Hopkinsville and Christian County in our area, okay? And we could do more. We could grow more corn, we could process more corn.
This is one of the only ethanol plants that is cooled by a deep water quarry. It's about 130 feet deep in the middle, 45 degrees of temperature in the middle of the summer, the hottest point of the summer. So they save a lot of electricity usage by having a cool water source nearby, and it doesn't become polluted coming back in.
See where we put water back in over here. See the waterfall over on the far side?
Yeah.
Like I said, it actually blows down in the pond over here, goes across the top of the ground, and goes back in over there.
There is absolutely enough land in America to supply us with food, feed, and fiber for all of our uses, especially for automotive fuels. If you want to say, well, can corn to ethanol do it all by itself today? No. But can corn to ethanol, as being part of the solution with biofuels, do it? Absolutely. We have today the base to build that industry.